We just let Kyle win. And then
he's got to give some. He's got to give some.
Yeah, he's got to do the handouts because it's not fair that that he wins all the races. So
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of the High Limit Room. Dylan Welch, Kyle Larson, Brad Sweet with you as always. Kyle and Brad are in the middle of Huset's High Bank Nationals, and that's where they're at right now. This is Thursday when we're recording this, and last night Kyle scored another win, opening night of the High Bank Nationals. So yes, I'm drinking water. So cheers, Kyle. We can toast his third straight High Limit Sprint Car Series win as well. That came at Eagle a couple of weeks ago now, back on June the 6th. So Kyle, are you sharing your money? There's been some Twitter, some folks seem to think that you should just share all this money you're winning. So who's getting the cut?
Yeah, I don't know. I seen there was 60 cars in the pit area, so maybe I could walk by and give everybody a couple $100. I think that would make the race fans happy, anyways. But or some of them. But no, it's been fun to win lots of races, and each race we've won, I think this year is paid pretty decent. So I think we've got under 10 races under our belt, and we're probably second or third on the money list right now in sprint car racing, compared to guys who ran 30 nights or so. So it's been kind of cool to be up front and contending every night, and Paul's been getting the car really close every night. So it's been fun to go out there and be qualifying well, and even if we don't qualify great, race our way forward into the dashes and the redraws, and keeping ourselves in the hunt. So yeah, it's been fun, and a lot of the tracks we've been going to honestly kind of suit our team and our setup and all that. So no, it's been good, and you look forward to the rest of the week.
Well, we Eagle obviously was one of those races, as we said, that went well for you guys. I think we need to talk about, if we're going to recap that, talk about the crowd, first of all. Everybody, I think by now has probably seen the pictures. Those of you that were there know how packed it was. Tony and I were in the booth and were amazed at the line of traffic. And they said they had to open the back gate pit for the first time in a long time. So that's what we want, right? I mean, that was, Brad, that's as good as it gets right there. Everybody talked about how exciting and how happy they were that 410s were back at Eagle. And I think it delivered.
Yeah. I mean, I think when we announced this series, there was a lot of people that were skeptical whether we could get crowds, on these Tuesday nights. And, we preached from the word go that we were going to go to places that, maybe we're deprived of some 410 racing. And, I think Eagle is a perfect example. Obviously, Grand Slam home run. If they could all be like that, it'd be amazing. But, really cool for all the hard work to kind of come together and the proof of concept, all the ideas that we had to get there and then actually have a crowd of that magnitude was amazing. It was great to work with Roger Hayden, the owner of Eagle Raceway. He was great. They did a great job parking cars. I mean, it takes a really big group effort, to pull that off and somewhat be organized and get people through the gate. So, JP, my wife, it was all hands on deck. BWalk, we had Lowell Morale out from out in California helping get, people through the gates. It's just a really, really great night. And then, man, the racing was great. That place is just a gym out there, in Lincoln, Nebraska. Just, high banks, great facility. It's like everything just took care of itself. Rico and Kyle put on a great show. So it was, if they could all be like that, it'd be great. But it was really nice to have one that great for sure.
Kyle, I mean, for you, you obviously were the last one to win a 410 race there before this most recent one as well. So I know you were excited about it. Take us through those last few laps with Rico and the sliders you guys were throwing at each other. You guys have raced against each other for a long time, so I know there's a level of trust there that maybe doesn't come with everybody, but it sure was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was fun too behind the wheel. Really, from the drop of the green, it was a lot of fun. Rico he started on the pole or whatever, or front row, and him and Marks and myself and Macri were all kind of the same speed, really close, and it felt like the four of us were battling, for the lead really at that point. And pretty long green flag run to start the race. Then we had some caution periods there in the middle. Was able to inherit the lead after Brent messed up into one and flipped. And then I was kind of just cruising the bottom 1 and 2, and would pick up the cushion through 3 and 4, and felt like I was doing a decent job of that, and hadn't really seen the top come in to that point in 1 and 2 before that. And then Rico showed his nose the one time into 3, so it kind of got me ready for something. And then he slid me the next lap, and was able to cross him over and then get to the top 1 and 2, and definitely felt a lot faster up there. It was sketchy though, that hole into 1, which is, I imagine, always there. The track to me felt like exactly the same as when it was in 2017. So it was fun. It was technical, great track. Rico was able to throw, another couple sliders at me. There were the handful of laps left. So I know the crowd was on their feet and cheering and didn't know who was going to win. And it was just good to edge out Rico there. He's been probably the first or second best car, I think, throughout the country this year. And to beat him at an elbows up track like that felt great.
Yeah, I think they said it's like a soft spot in the earth in that turn 1 hole that they've tried to Rogers tried to fill it in, and he's tried to do everything, but it's literally just a part of the ground. So that's why that spot is always in turn 1. So I know they tried
a lot of these tracks, we turn off the track right there, and you load a little bit on your left rear as you're driving off. So I think it just gets a little hump, and then as cars start driving over it, then it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and then you bottom out after it, and then the another hole develops. So I think it's just a product of where you pull off the racetrack. That's why you see Eldora into 3 is always rough, because the haulers pull the infield right there. So Tulare, same thing, off of 1 gets the hump. So it adds character, and I think it's fun. I was nervous, leading. I wasn't running nearly as hard as I needed to, because I just didn't want to do what Britt Marks did.
You guys can both add on this, because you've both run at places like the 3 you just mentioned that all kind of have those dips in the same spot. But does that make it easier is the wrong word, but more predictable, just knowing that it's right there, as opposed to just having to blow through a cushion where it's choppy or anything like that? If it's in the same spot every lap, does that kind of help you position your car in the right spot, or not really?
Yeah, you always know that Tulare's going to have the hole in turn 1, and obviously Eagle kind of has that characteristic too. So it's not something you love as a driver. I mean, at least I don't. Kyle probably likes character more than I do. But
Brad's on the Outlaw Tour for a long time now, so he doesn't like bumps.
Yeah, no, we like slick and smooth. But no, I mean, it does help. I've learned at Tulare, some of the tricks to get through the hole. Where you watch guys really struggle with trying to figure all that out, angles and how to stay loaded. And, I think once you learn that, it kind of translates to a lot of other tracks that have those similar type of holes and rough spots. There's a certain way you can drive through holes. And obviously we raced in California a lot, so we've dealt with a lot of rough tracks.
When you get that bunny hop though, that like Mark's had, and I mean, there's a lot of guys that had it at Eagle. What can you do? I mean, is the only thing to try to get pointed and just hammer down and go, or are you just kind of a passenger at that point?
When it gets as big as what Mark's had going on, he was a passenger. But when Rico and I were battling, I was just trying to I didn't want to hit it too hard and get pogoing bad like he was. So, or like he did. So I was probably running 80% on entry and still felt like I was going to flip. But then, you're just trying to, be loaded, I guess. And on both pedals really probably through it. But it's tough. It's you can't hit it sideways. If you go in there a little too two sideways. That's really what gets the pogo going. So you kind of almost have to like arc out more than you want to, or run straighter through a hole like that. To me, it's fun. I like when tracks have character on entry because it slows the pace down. It allows for typically, more options of lanes and stuff. So that's why I think 1 and 2 at Tulare to me is a better corner than 3 and 4, because your 3 and 4 typically is much more sweeping and smooth, and 1 and 2's sharper and got that hole, so you have to slow down, and it opens up rooms for just odd angles and different ways to get around the corner. So and then Eagle is the same way.
Yeah, I agree. You got to stay loaded. I think that's like the biggest thing. It's like you don't just you got to run less pace. Whatever your car will handle, and definitely I think the brakes are key to getting through holes too. So yeah, that was it looked bad, but it looked like you guys were pretty under control from the infield. Just Marks just caught it just wrong. It looked like.
Yeah, it would have been a great. I wish he didn't mess up, because it would have been a great race, I think, at some point, because I think hopefully we get a long run there. Hopefully we get to traffic. Rico comes back into the picture. I'm there. Buddy's probably up there. I think it turns into an amazing race. So it was a bummer. It was definitely a bummer when Mark's wrecked.
Yeah, I thought he had kind of the best car maybe there. Like he definitely had more drive on exit than it looked like Rico at the beginning. So it would have been definitely a good race between the three of you.
Yeah.
Gio got there at the end. Obviously, he was the hard charger, 17th to 3rd. What did you make of that, Brad? You had a kind of firsthand look at it, at least from the infield. What was he? Do you remember what he was doing right that was kind of allowing him to get by guys?
Yeah, he hit the bottom, really good, and just was patient early on, getting through some of those restarts, because we had a number of double file restarts, and I think he was picking them off pretty good. And then once you get to a certain point, top 8 or so, then if you have a really good car like he did, you can get up there a lot quicker. So from what I could see, he was definitely hitting the bottom really good in 3 and 4, which a lot of guys were up the track, and then he could kind of hit the bottom in 1 and 2 and go across the middle. And he's been pretty good all year, on the Outlaw Tour, and he's taken some money from our high limit races. But yeah, he did a good job, and I think he made a bunch of extra money on that hard charger deal that night. I think there was even an extra $2,500. So yeah, I think he almost made as much as second place, which he's loving that high limit money.
You mentioned the choose cone. I thought it was interesting too, because he even said it in his post race interview at Eagle, and then also when he won at Lakeside at the beginning of the year. They're like, he made up a lot of spots just on the choose cone. Like I feel like he's been one of the ones that's been most effective at using it coming from deep, because I don't remember where he started at Lakeside, but it was like 9th or 10th or something. And he picked up a row or two, like each yellow, he said. And I think he used it pretty effectively at Eagle too. So it seems like he's maybe got it figured out more so than some of the other guys that are kind of, buried in the middle of the pack every night.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like the choose cone allows, like if your car's working better on the bottom, like if you're just, you're not really comfortable running the top, like you know that you can go to the bottom and pick off some cars, or that if you're not going to be able to slow down and hit the bottom, you're able to choose the top. Where like the way the Outlaws do it is just you're just at the mercy of whatever the leader chooses. So a lot of times you might be making ground up on the bottom, and the leader might choose the top. And you're in an odd position, and you got to choose. Then you have to go to the top, and then you end up losing spots. So I think the choose cone just allows it to be in your hands for with what your car is doing.
Do you still enjoy it, Kyle? I mean, you've been one that's been at the front, obviously, that's had to kind of go through that thought process under yellow a little more than most. Is it something that you think still is a valuable kind of tool for strategy for the guys at the front?
I mean, for sure. I think at the front, it's pretty simple. You're kind of just going opposite of the guy in front of you. I think as you get further towards the mid-pack back, that's when you might have a guy or two guys choose the same lane, and then you can, go in the opposite of them and gain a row. stuff like that. And then you can really think about, as Brad mentioned, because, on the restarts, when you're 6th row or whatever on back, like it's so choked up in one. It's like, where's my car going to handle best? Where can I carry the most momentum, or maybe this guy, if that choose the bottom in front of me, his car's looked tight. He might miss the bottom. I could choose behind him and get underneath him and gain a row there on the restart, stuff like that. So yeah, I think the choose rule is great. I think it's something that you're probably going to see other series adapt, in the future. I think it's the fairest form of a double file restart, giving yourself the opportunity and putting it in your hands, I think is great. And two, I think we've showed too that, what I've loved to see from us is, we choose on the front stretch and we come to the green off turn 4. I think that's really important.
Yeah,
I think that's been great. So, I definitely think series will adapt it, looking on into the future, maybe. So.
Yeah, I see those jackass fans that say that it's gimmicky. And I'm like, how is it gimmicky? It's like the most ungimmicky. Like, It's just, you just choose what lane you want to restart the race in. It's not like there's no gimmick there. So I like that we explained it from our perspective, because I think that shows, that we like it that way, that we get to be in control of where we want to be, on the restart. So
I haven't heard a single driver complain any about it either. I think everybody in the field feels the same. I would imagine, about having it in their hands.
It's the most fair way to do it. It's the most fair, and it allows you to choose. If you want to be high or low. I think that's different than having to go wherever the leader chooses. I think sometimes that sucks as a driver. When you're in like row 4, 5, and 6, like it almost like the leader. It might be good for the leader, but then it loses you 2 or 3 spots because of their choice, which, you can't get mad at them, but you shouldn't be tied to the leader, I don't think.
No.
It sounds like Eldora has maybe added that to the Million format as well. So that'll be another kind of fun wrinkle into the program there, which of course you can see here on Flow in about 3 weeks.
Double file the whole race too.
Yeah.
Eldora.
What do you think of that?
I think that's wild. Yeah, that's wild. That's
is that too much?
Well, once the guy on the green, white, checkered or something, $900,000 difference from first to second. There's not a lot to lose, for the guy, that's in second. You'd hate a guy to be leading and gonna win the race and double file with like 2 to go and second place just it doesn't race real clean, or there's not a lot to lose there. So and I know a lot of people are going to do a lot of things for $1 million, but I guess if you're a fan, tuning in to watch, it's going to be exciting. That's for sure.
Hey, if it's you two on the front row coming to the checkered or whatever, it is a $900,000 difference between winning that race and finishing second. How do you guys race each other? Do we get to Larry 2.0 or what?
We just let Kyle win. And then he's got to give some. He's got to give some. Yeah, he's got to do it. He's got to do the handouts because it's not fair that that he wins all the races. So no, I think it'll be pretty intense no matter who it is. But I think when there's that amount of money on the line, I just think you just go as hard as you possibly can. I just hope it's not dirty, and I think at Eldora you can be a little bit dirty. I just hope that for the sake of our sport and integrity and everything, that everybody, like that late model deal last year, I felt like they raced each other clean, even though it was $1 million. It was like, it was cool to see them race it out. And you'd hate for like us to get a black eye in sprint cars if, a guy just drives through a guy on the last lap, but shit, you also can't blame him for, it's life changing, so I think you're going to do whatever you feel like you need to do to win. That's for sure.
Is that something that you guys, a race of that caliber, I know it's still a few weeks out, but is that something where you guys run through scenarios like that already, where you're like, okay, like if I'm in this spot, like I'm ready to do whatever it takes. Like, do you think about that, or is it something in the moment where you just kind of go with your gut and do what you think is right or what you need to do?
I don't think you think of, I mean, you get excited about it. I mean, from my perspective anyway, but like, I certainly think like you're going to wake up on that day and you're going to feel differently about, I mean, even that day before, like you're certainly going to be willing to take more risk and know that there's a lot more on the line than a typical race. I mean, we race hard at all the races, but I think there's another level at big races. And then this might be like another level, to that. I think you're going to have to literally take some risk and be, really, really on your game to be able to win $1 million. Doesn't matter if Kyle Larson's in the field or not. Well, everybody just thinks, you take all our money, but I just want to say it from a racer's perspective. I'd rather you be there and I'd rather beat you, like heads up. I don't like as racers, I think we're happy that you're there. And that we don't feel like you're taking our money. We feel like you're racing fair and square and, that we have to beat the best, whether that's Kyle Larson or back in the day it was Steve Kinzer or, Donnie Schatz had his reign of time and he still could win the race, but it doesn't matter. There's always, someone, that's at the top of their game and to win $1 million, you certainly want to, beat whoever the best is. And, I think that race will surely bring out, every great sprint car racer that has a chance, and it'll be intense. I think David Gravel's been really good lately. I think you've been good. I think Rico's been good. I think there's a lot of contenders, for that $1 million, and it'll be intense no matter what.
We had a surprise winner with the All-Stars and Sam Haferteep last week during Ohio Speedway, as we've talked about, kind of the last sprint car race before the Millions. So while we're talking about it, we may as well just put a bow on this conversation.
Well, hold on. Kyle didn't give us his answer on
that. Yeah, he didn't. You're right. So what?
I want to hear it because I want to hear his perspective because. Does Kyle Larson, is it just another day in the life, going for $1 million? No big deal.
Well, he's already won it. He's already won like $3 million races, right? So it's no biggie.
I mean, I don't want to sound like arrogant or anything, but like, I think having experience racing in races that pay $1 million and having won a few of them now, like, I don't know. I don't think that I will. Like, I know what you're saying. Like, you're going to wake up that day and it's going to feel different. And it's going to be it's already on everybody's mind. Before the All-Star race this year, like, I was like, oh shit, it's the All-Star race. Like, it did feel like just another day. And I think, and I'm again, I'm not trying to sound arrogant by it. I think that's a good thing for a guy like me. I don't think the moment's going to feel bigger than a high limit race does. I don't know. Maybe it will once I wake up that day, but I hope because of having that feeling, I'll make better decisions on the racetrack, smarter decisions. I won't do maybe things as crazy as some other or desperate moves like others may, that get them in trouble or hurt their chances to win. So, but I don't know. I mean, you don't know until you get out there. You don't know until you qualify. You don't know until you see where you line up and what race, who you're around, stuff like that. It's hard to predict what your feeling is going to be, but I do think having experience racing for $1 million already, winning $1 million race a few times, I think it definitely helps the mindset when you go into big races of just staying focused and just trying to win another race, because ultimately I think you just have to treat every race like it's another race. And I think that, like for me, like Chili Bowl, I would amp myself up so much for that race that I would end up making mistakes. And eventually I got to the point where I was just like, screw it. It's just another race. And that's what I want. I was like, I don't care the result, just going to treat it like another race. And that's what I try to do all the time now.
Yeah, I actually like the little bit like pressure. I like the amped up. Like it just gets me a little more excited, I think, than like a standard race.
Yeah, so like 2020 we had a great year. 21 I had a amazing year too, and like I remember in 2020 and 21, like, yeah, every race felt like another race. And then leading into Knoxville Nationals, I was starting like third in the feature. And that was like the first time in a long time I'd woke up the morning of a race and was like amped up and butterflies and all that. And like, it was a refreshing feeling to have that, again. So yeah, I may have that feeling, the Eldora, when we raced for Million, but I think Knoxville was maybe different because you knew where you were lining up. You knew you were going to be in contention to race for a big win, where Eldora, it's like, you don't know until, before the feature. Maybe that's when all the pairs will kick in.
Yeah, I feel like those heat races will be intense.
Yeah, I mean, they already are for Kings Royal. I think for a Million, it's going to be insane.
Yeah. Well, and Eldora does a good job too of like with the pyro and all the fireworks. And I mean, they build it up and blow it up big, right? So it's like I'm sure it's going to be. It was
always just like so unknown. Like you never know. Like especially for me, like for how shitty we qualify at Eldora all the time. Like I never know where I'm going to start in the heat race. I'm like praying that I could, hit the invert.
The wheel of misfortune.
Yeah, and then like I don't know if it's I think they line it up different now for the Million I saw, but like heat 6 or something would be like the pole versus 12th, and like first to second in the heat race. So like their format's so goofy, but it makes the racing so intense in those heat races because the positions are just, they mean so much. So yeah, Eldora does a great job of like just making some crazy stuff and making the atmosphere of the event cool.
No, and it's a 50 lap feature too. And I think you got a break around like halfway or something, like around like lap 20 or something, I think. So you got time, right? Too. I mean, you got time and you got a red theoretically to make improvements. So that certainly helps too, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Just kind of based on where you start, obviously.
You love long races, but I don't love the fact that you can change tires. I wish you didn't have to change tires, but I'm not going to complain. I mean, it's when you race for $1 million, there's nothing to complain about.
Eldora, we've all seen them throw curveballs right for the race too. They might say like, "No, change our minds. Got to run the same set," which I think would make the racing better. I mean, I don't. Especially Eldora. I mean, their surface is so good; it doesn't chew tires up. It doesn't, do anything that.
Well, you can leave your tires on. It's just it allows people. It allows people, to maybe get their stuff hot and then just don't pay any consequences or blister early in the race. But it's also to like Dylan's point, like if you maybe didn't sit, if you aren't running up front, you could go really really hard and then change your tires. I don't know. I guess there's multiple ways to look at it in lots of different scenarios and. They made the rules, we play by them, and the winner gets $1 million. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That'll be fun. Coming up, as we said, in about 3 weeks. I want to make sure I get my dates right here. July 12th and 13th on Flow, and of course leads right into Kings Royal weekend as well. So, and we did mention Sam Haferteep Jr., surprise winner, kind of with the All Stars last week in Ohio Speed Week. So Rico looked good there too. I think he had a mechanical issue with a few to go that kind of took him out of contention, but he'll certainly be a threat in a couple weeks. So, all right. So we're kind of at the halfway point of the High Limit Sprint Car Series season. So we wanted to use part of this show to just kind of talk big picture about up to this point in the year. And I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on just where we're at this point. And of course, we go back to the beginning of the year with Gio Scelzi winning at Lakeside to kick the year off with $50,000. Brad, I'll go to you first here. We mentioned, that Gio came from kind of mid pack and charged up through there, and it was, it was a good race. But from where we're at now to where we were at then, as kind of making our debut as a series, I think there's been a lot of strides made. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think we definitely have made improvements on every front. We've certainly made mistakes. We've certainly had some moments that we've learned from, but in 5 races, I feel like every time, we had an event, we improved on, our thought process, our planning. Our track prep's been great. Our racing's been great. I feel like these things are really hard to do. But we're pulling it off, and we're getting a lot of great feedback. The fans seem really happy. The Tuesdays and Wednesdays are working really well, and we're getting crowds. For the most part, there's been a few crowds that have been lighter than others, but Lakeside was great. Wayne County had a great atmosphere. Then Eagle was off the chart. So I feel like from all that, racing's been good. We've got great following. We've got great car counts. We brought MedStar on, so they come to all our races now. I think that was a big improvement from the first couple shows. We didn't have, we weren't prepared for a few things, and then, I give ourselves, a little pat on the back. It's nice to take a little breather, because those 5 were, they're a lot of work for us to do, especially with racing a full-time outlaw schedule. So, I'm pretty pleased. I hope Kyle's been enjoying it as well.
You mentioned the safety improvements, and I want to get your thoughts too on, we all saw, I think, the Knoxville incident with Carson Macedo, and you and Spencer, Baston, and Gio were kind of 3 of the first guys on the scene there. So, we always talk about how we can improve safety and how we can improve things at the racetrack just to make you guys feel safer. But I do kind of want to get your thoughts just on that whole Knoxville incident, and if you had anything you wanted to share about things that have changed or things that are being improved, or what happened in that incident, that sort of thing.
Yeah, obviously as a racer, I've always, worried about safety as much as anybody. I'm in these cars, and then, now as kind of starting this series, I certainly am even looking at it, further as something that, I've always taken my safety as, think that I do a little extra than a lot of people. But when you start to do a series and you start to see some of these crashes up close, and then, that experience there with Carson was, really, really scary, really helpless feeling. So I certainly have dug into a lot of things, with the fires and certain things that we just, obviously in sprint car racing, we want to just keep making improvements. It was obviously a huge deal that Carson had an accident like that and was able to walk away and race the next weekend. So, I think, we're seeing, definitely improvements, because I'm not sure that would have happened, a number of years ago. But yeah, he was unconscious, and there was the fuel cell comes loose and gets punctured, and fuel's running on the ground and catches fire. And, me, Gio, and Spencer could see he was unconscious and the fire, so we thought maybe we could help. And, the Knoxville fire safety crew did a great job. They had the right tools, the fire aid foam, stuff that they were able to get the fire out. Obviously, we can go back and look and criticize, but those moments when you're in the heat of those moments, it's crazy how fast things are happening. And, 3 seconds feels like 3 minutes, it was just a wild experience, but everything did its job. Carson was sprayed down with that foam. He doesn't really have any burns. They were able to get him out safe, and he's racing. So that made me feel better. And it made me, as a series, building a series, it made me want to do better on all fronts. And I think one thing we need to look at is to keep these tail tanks on these cars. They tend to fly off. Not tethers, but a better mounting system. I think we as a series need to make sure we have MedStar or tools in place so that we can respond to crashes like that. So there's just, I'm just digging into it, and I can, promise you that by the end of it, we'll definitely have one of the safest series out there, or rules that or people or personnel or whatever it takes to be one of the safest places for guys to race.
And the good thing is too, is kind of like you mentioned, I think across the board in dirt racing, there's, it's obviously on the forefront of everybody's mind. Like I've seen even USAC is mandating some changes on their midget chassis moving forward. So, everybody's aware of it, and everybody's certainly trying to, make it as safe as possible, as always. And we're obviously certainly glad too that Carson is feeling okay and is back in the car. back to our season recap. Anthony Macri won at the 34 Raceway, and then since then it's been Kyle winning at Wayne County on May the 16th, at Tri-City Speedway, St. Louis at the end of May, and then of course at Eagle. So what's going well for you guys right now, Kyle? I mean, and you obviously won again last night at Huset. So things kind of seem like they're clicking with you guys right now, and it's not happening at a better time, I'd imagine. Yeah,
no, it's been good. I mean, obviously a lot of the tracks we're going to are tracks that suit myself and the 57 car. I'm don't know how we'll be once we get to these half miles and stuff coming up, but I'm excited that we've been fast to this point. It's been good to race, to let Paul work on our car. I feel like we are a lot better now than where we were the first couple of races of the year, and obviously the results back that up. So I don't know, it's just fun. I love racing sprint cars. I love having more opportunity to race this year with the midweek stuff and the high limit racing. It's been fun to compete in that and compete with the other drivers and seeing drivers travel to our races, seeing the fans support our races at the track as well as at home, watching on Flow. The viewership's been great. Getting to talk to Brad after the events and hearing his recaps on what went smooth, what they could have done better, stuff like that. I like at Eagle, I'm staying on top of the trailer watching hot laps of qualifying. And I'm like looking at the crowd and thinking this is amazing, seeing how many people are there. But I'm like, Brad must be so stressed out right now, trying to scan people in. I'm texting him about, the track's too wet and hot laps. I'm waiting for him to walk over and punch me in the face, stuff like that. So I'm just, trying to just, think about what he's dealing with and thinking about. But no, it's been fun. I think it's fun to have events go as well as Eagle did. And I think Grandview's our next one. Looking forward to that one because I've ran Pennsylvania Speed Weeks races there the last handful of years, and that place is always packed. The merchandise row is always packed. It's gonna be fun to get to have the posse venture maybe off their porch a little bit to drive an hour away to come race on a midweek show. So it's been a lot of fun, and I look forward to sculpting next year's schedule now and trying to make our series bigger and better and safer, as Brad mentioned, and just trying to improve on things each race.
There's 6 races left this year. As you mentioned, Grandview on July the 25th. We go to Kokomo on August the 1st. That's the reschedule from earlier this year. Then Husets on August the 15th. That's right after Knoxville. And then Lernerville, Bridgeport, and then the season finale at Putnamville on October 10th. So real quick, Kyle, I know you just mentioned Grandview, but is there any other ones on there, both of you guys, that you're extra excited about, that you're looking forward to? Obviously, Lernerville's the second 50 grand to win race of the year, so that'll be a big one too.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, all of them. I think we haven't had a bad race to this point. Looking forward to at all the tracks we have coming up. I think they're all places that can put on great races. So, I'm excited about all of them. Excited about whatever one we get Dale Jr. to come to as well and help, promote our event and bring a different fan base maybe to the racetrack to view a different style of racing that they might not be familiar with and hopefully turn them into sprint car fans. So, I don't know. I look forward to everything upcoming.
Yeah, same with me. I feel like it's hard to really pick one out. I mean, they're all, I just want to keep having good events. That's the biggest thing is keep improving, keep having good racing and obviously, 50,000 at Lernerville's, obviously sticks out a little bit. It's really, be a big show for us. But yeah, just want to keep having great races, and all the tracks we're going to, are certainly, capable of producing that. So, just keep making the fan experience better and better, and keep growing, just like Kyle said.
Well, while we're finishing up high limit talk, I want to get this read in about Tezos and the digital collectibles that race fans can collect. I know Kyle's a big fan of these. You can get these digital collectible and digital card games with Kyle, and there's 15 other High Limit Sprint Car Series drivers, Tyler Courtney, Brent Marks, through Tezos. You can buy racing packs and reveal digital collectibles. Then you can buy and sell those online in their marketplace on the Tezos site to collect 20 cards. And then through those, you can unlock some incredible prizes, a meet and greet with Kyle, opportunity to present a victory lane check at a high limit race. You can check that out at collectibles.flowsports.tv. So be sure to check that out. June 26th is when those are released. So that's coming up here the end of this week. So be sure to check that out. All right. You guys are both racing this week, obviously at Husets for $250,000 on Saturday. We've already mentioned Kyle won last night. Brad, you didn't have as good of a night, but what are your thoughts on the rest of this week? And Brad, are you guys going to be a little better tonight, hopefully?
Yeah, obviously, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, luckily the way the format is, you can have a bad night and, it's not, you don't feel like you're out of it by any means yet. And, there's still, it's a little bit of a marathon. I think with the way the format is, you really, it can be up and down throughout the night. You can maybe not qualify great, but have a good heat race and kind of dig yourself out of a hole, or, I think you want to control your own destiny. I think it showed last night, qualifying good and just, passing a car in the heat, set yourself up a little bit better. I was way off in qualifying. Is why we, got behind, and, it's always hard to overcome that. And felt like just wasn't our night, got through the B and then made it all the way to maybe 10th or 12th in the A, and actually felt really good about my car. I was passing cars, and then I just got in a little fender bender, and luckily it wasn't worse. So, sometimes in racing, you just, ride a night off and start over again tonight. But we thought we made improvements on our car, so hopefully that'll show up tonight and tomorrow, and we can get up there and battle young money.
Husets is a cool place, isn't it, Kyle? It's a fun place to run.
Yeah, no, I think when they get the surface right, it is a fun place. You catch traffic quickly. Once you do catch traffic, it's difficult to do anything with it. I caught Brad there towards the end of the race, and then I kind of just was following him through the traffic, and he said it. I thought being behind him, I thought his car looked really good. He obviously just had some bad luck there at the middle of the race or whatever it was, and all that. But yeah, I thought he could get through the middle of 3 and 4 and slide guys really good. I thought the track, honestly, for Husets, I don't know. I'm curious what Brad thinks. I don't know how it could have been a whole lot better without taking rubber. I think another 15 laps. That place just goes from grip to slick to rubber so fast. I felt like it was 35 laps last night. Another 15, it was going to be rubber for sure. So I'm not sure how they can get it a whole lot better without sacrificing even more the first half of the race with the surface. So they did all they could throughout the night. I know it was a long night, and heat races weren't the most exciting thing and all that, but I thought you got guys that were able to pass and feature. Brad mentioned him driving forward. Basin had the flat tire, and I think he drove back to the top 10. So the surface was good for passing. It's just I don't envy the track prep crew there. I think they have their hands tied a little bit with just the dirt and the surface and how fast it wears out. So hopefully they can keep up with it and keep the track good and racy and make it good for all. I'm assuming it's 50 laps or so on Saturday night.
Brad, how valuable are the notes you gather this weekend for when we go back there, in August? I mean, is that something you'll reference when it's our turn to kind of prep the track and take care of it, that sort of thing?
Well, they do a really good job. Honestly, I know they take a lot of heat, but I feel like they are starting to really get it figured out, and they have all the right equipment. And honestly, I'll definitely support where I can support, but like Kyle said, I don't envy them because they got to live in this world of a surface that, is very finicky. We have that a little bit at Chico, but I think this place even, takes the cake a little bit. So, like Kyle said, I don't think they could have really done much better than they did last night. It's crazy that open red. I mean, we sat there for a few minutes and then the track changed drastically. From that point forward, it was getting slicker and slicker quicker. I think they realized they thinned the cushion out to kind of keep it moving, because I think they realized if the cushion's moving, then our left rear is not in the same spot lap after lap. So I definitely think they understand and have a goal of what they're trying to accomplish. As a driver, I wish the bottom would just maybe stay a little bit better, but it's almost like we wear the bottom out and then everybody kind of goes to the top. So, I think I certainly didn't have too big of a problem passing cars last night. So that's all you can ask for. And I think when we come back, I think they'll learn a lot, another, good amount these 4 nights, with this amount of cars. And, hopefully we'll bring a big car count here and they'll do a good job in August.
Yep. That'll be fun. $250,000 to win that on Saturday. By the way, Dirt Cup at Skagit as well going on this weekend on FloRacing. 62,000 to win, plus $500 per lap you lead. So an opportunity for close to 80,000, I think, if you win that and lead all 40 laps or something. So a couple of big races going on this weekend.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Good time to be a sprint car racer. That's for sure.
That's right. The summer of money is here officially. So last thing, hold or fold. I'm holding non-wing sprint cars at the Action Track in Pennsylvania. I don't know if you guys saw that this weekend. Great race.
Cummins is going to win every single one of those.
I know he is. It's like Hobstadt, just on not on steroids, but it's the same philosophy. Anybody have a fold or anybody have anything you want to hold?
I'm on the fence on folding the dice roll. So unless the fans like it enough that they can convince me to bring the dice roll back, the racers, it just doesn't seem like it's got enough traction. The front row, it's like we're paying maybe a little too much to win, so they don't want to go back. But trying to find something that's exciting for the fans and that the racers will, it'll actually be meaningful. I'm just not sure we're accomplishing it. It's maybe sound a little better on paper and when we talked about it than what's actually happening. But if the fans want it, we'll keep it. But right now, I'm leaning towards folding them.
We just need some participants. We need some guys that are willing to risk it, but it's easier said than done.
From 4th, I don't think anybody.
I know. So I was disappointed that we finally got some low numbers and nobody bit still. So.
Rico fell back to 5th or 6th in the race and still almost won.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's the philosophy of it, I guess, or the principle of it.
I think it's just that we're paying too much to win that you got, and then also the fact that your crew chief or car owner, you got to go back and tell them hey, we're on the front row of the A, but instead I'm going, I've got greedy maybe. And I went back for more money. I'm sure it was an enjoyable conversation with you when you did it with Paul Silva. I'm sure he was not too pumped too thrilled until, you basically knew you had to win that race or you were in trouble.
You would have been super pissed. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So.
A lot of added pressure, no doubt. All right. Well, we're going to give Brad a few weeks to think on that. And maybe we'll have a new dice roll or something to unveil in a few weeks. That's Grandview coming up next for the High Limit Sprint Car Series in Pennsylvania, July the 25th. All right, guys. Thank you. Good luck the rest of this weekend. And I don't know when I'll see you guys next. I guess maybe the Million, but as we said, good luck and thanks for your time today.
You're an NBC guy now, right? I might see you on the weekends.
My first NASCAR race isn't until Richmond though. So I'll be at the Million before then. So that's probably where I'll see you guys. So I saw Brad at Beaver Dam this weekend.
Yeah. Beaver Dam was great. Yeah, what a cool track, huh?
Couple thirds. That place is awesome. Super cool.
Supporting the Wi-Fi. That was nice.
Oh, really?
You were, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah, I was. I thought you said something about Wi-Fi for some reason.
No, you were supporting your wife.
Yes, no, I was. She was in the pits for the Dirt Vision broadcast, so it was fun. So
I thought she did good. Yeah, I thought she did good.
She, for what it's worth, she was very happy with the welcome that she received from the sprint car people. So that was that's a positive. So you guys all did a good job, Brad, to make her feel welcome.
That's what we do.
Yep. Cool. All right, guys. Thank you. we'll see all of you watching, hopefully at Grandview on July the 25th. This has been episode 7 of the High Limit Room on FloRacing.